Best book of the night. Creepshow. We are on issue 3, and I love it. First story is actually called Hair. Yeah. We do actually have a stack night for comic books, but Creepshow, I've been wanting to get back to Creepshow. I got a shock shop over there. The most recent shock shop wasn't as interesting. It was like, we'll see what the next one is. I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't as interesting to talk about. It's like, not a lot happened. This one is actually pretty good. Your first story is called Hair, and it's like you start off with this guy, and he's just feeding his little nighttime forest critter friends. And look, you got a little Mochi making a cameo in the comic books.
Aww.
Either way, automatically 10 out of 10 book. But anyway, it follows the life and times of this barber. His name is not important. It's really not. And as he's going through his day, and it's like as the patrons come in and talk about like a string of like bizarre murders, you know. And that there's a couple of guys that went out hunting. They were pelt trappers. You know, these people, the people who trap animals so they can skin them and sell their skins. Yeah. They don't eat the animal; they just want the pelts. So
that's a waste.
Like the worst kind of hunter. But anyway, these hunters are turning up dead, you know, and they're missing. So at first you think, is this the barber that's doing this? And then another guy comes in and is like, yeah, like I knew those guys. It's like, and then someone's like, yeah, they just found another body up in so and so. It's like, well, what the hell's going on? It's like, apparently he's missing his head. It's like, who the hell's hunting all these hunters? So the guy finishes getting his haircut and everything, and he's leaving. And the barber's closing up for the night. As he's sweeping the hair down the grate, he's talking to something he calls the Big Fluff, which is like this giant mutant raccoon-looking creature that's down in the pits there. But this thing is gnarly, and I love the artwork for it. So, but yeah, either way, like it ends with him feeding his little nighttime forest friends, and of course, you got the little possum appears back again, and you hear the guy screaming off in the distance. So yeah, either way, like don't go killing little defenseless animals if you're not gonna eat them. You know, like, make it be for something. The next part of this story is the bridge. And it's essentially the plot of the movie Old, just told in a much more cohesive and tasteful way. But if you've seen that movie, it's the same thing.
That's also a book.
People go places people go places they're not supposed to go. Bad shit happens. I gotta say, like the first part of this book was really cool. I love the art style. This other part has that more blocky, angular style, and it really took me out of it. So it's like not all the artists are gonna be hits and miss, but otherwise I'd still recommend the book. Plus, it's Creepshow. You got to keep Creepshow around. Brings me into my second block tonight. Now, if you recall, a few weeks back, like not even a few weeks now, almost a month back, I read issue number 1 of Flawed. And while I liked the book, I was not going to continue reading it. It was Chris at Top Dog who said, hey, seriously, give this book a chance. So I decided to. He gave me issues 2 and 3 to read, and I've reread 1 and I've read 2 and 3, and so far this book has a lot going on. You have an incredibly skilled psychiatrist by day who is a vigilante by night, and she's definitely got this like Pam Grier kind of 70s blaxploitation vibe to the book. But there's more layers that meet the eye. You got this serial killer who's going around skinning people, and he's somehow unkillable. And she's trying to figure out, why is this guy unkillable? And apparently it has to do with where she's coming from and like who her people are, which we haven't uncovered that mystery yet. But this guy they call him a skinwalker because he's nigh, indestructible. She had flayed him alive, thought she had killed him, and he started growing his skin back and healing. Another guy steals him from the morgue, and when they call him the bread man, because apparently when he kills people, he puts bread in their mouths or something. I don't know.
Why?
Why would? I guess we get the backstory for that. Like I say that's the issue that I've had with this book, is that while I can see like a lot of the potential, a lot of the promise, the pacing is all over the place because it fires off so many different things, but it doesn't answer a lot of those things. It's like, why is he called the bread man? Like, what's the bread man's actual name? We don't actually get the bread man's actual name. So right now, we're just going to stop calling him bread man. We don't know why he puts the bread in there.
John Durst.
So I feel like, that's cool that you want to build some mystery, but maybe pay that off at the end. Yeah, my name's not actually the Bread Man. It's something else entirely.
Yeah.
It's Sunbeam.
Yeah, exactly. Brenton Baker, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mr. Wonder.
but it fires off a lot of things like that. Then you get this story which kind of tells the origin of the Skinwalker, what it may be, but it was some sort of giant bugs that were pretty much unkillable, and they would consume, and then eventually the people that these bugs were attacking began to attack the bugs back, and they ate them, and then that's how they became these Skinwalker things. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean anything because we don't get any more about that. That's just a story. It could be the origin. It may not be. So it's all right. So this is useless information, and it was I'm gonna give this book 2 more issues to start to click, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to let it go.
Ray wants to know: is it because he's yeasty?
Exactly. They throw that out there and it means nothing. And it's I read 2 issues with that bread guy and it still don't know his name.
They haven't rose to the occasion.
His name is Fleischman.
Fleischman.
Whatever.
That's the yeast
it's
brand.
It's the yeast stuff.
Yeah. Moving on. That's
we
flawed.
Didn't need to talk about that.
But yeah, flawed. It's a good name for the book. Right now, it's very flawed. It's hoping the next 2 issues, they start clicking it together and bring down the breakneck pacing. Because I understand that you're trying to write books for what you think are an audience that has a shorter attention span, but it's I feel like you're forgetting who actually buys the books. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Which brings me to actually really good book. Yes. You notice that's a Miles Morales #1.
It's beautiful.
Now, I talked about Miles Morales months and months back. I think it was during the Clone Saga for Miles Morales. You know, this is issue #1. Well, that doesn't mean anything. It just means that there's a new writer. So if you're looking for a good getting on point for Miles Morales, this is the book for you. And of course, we start out with Miles Morales talking in his journal and having a run-in chance with the Scorpion. And you get a badass opening splash page welcoming you to this new book. And the writing and art direction in this book is spectacular. Pun intended. You have Miles Morales being written with a lot more flavor, and I appreciate that. Because for the longest time, I've always said, they keep writing Miles Morales as Black Peter Parker. It's let that man have some flavor, let him actually be a black guy from Brooklyn. And they're finally doing that, so it's starting to pay off because he has a personality that's all his own now. But yeah, he has this run-in with Scorpion, and this book, it reads like a typical Spider-Man book. It's just from Miles Morales' perspective. So it's a Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
And so it's he's trying to make ends meet. He's having issues with class, showing up late, getting detention. Well, he got suspended in this book for mouthing off to the teacher.
I mean,
he showed up late because he had to deal with Scorpion and got punched in the eye, so he had a black eye and showed up late for class. Gets suspended because the teacher is just going in on him. It's just because you've won this lottery to be in this class, you think you're better than everybody? It's fuck off, dude.
Yes.
I have a black eye, bro. What if I'm getting beat at home?
But yeah, you get some awesome panels in this book, and I love these 90s style splash pages. I'm a big fan of that stuff. And the book, pretty much, you get a run-in from a character. I want to say it was an annual, but it was a short story that I read a while back with Miles Morales, and he was trying to get a birthday cake to a friend's party, and ended up having to deal with a street criminal, a low-level criminal along the way. And the guy was, the Buzzing Bee is what they called him. And he runs into this guy again. So this is actually the second canonical appearance of this character that was in a throwaway, maybe 3-4 page story from months back. And it's hey, and then to know that that's a canon story because he recognizes the dude.
Right.
He's oh, you again. Man, you don't know how hard it is out here in these streets. I'm just trying to make a little money. It's well, I can't let you do that. I thought we was on a good path. It's yeah, but I got bills to pay, man. And so it's well, that's cool, but I'm still Spider-Man, so they go at it. Spider-Man runs him his fucking fade. And he's like, you know, like, you would think by now, it's like, just don't. It's like, you know this, you know how this is gonna go, but they still do it anyway. And like, they have this great exchange toward the end of it. It's like, so is there any chance, you know, like, I get it, my lessons learned now, you're gonna let me go? And Miles is like, hell no. And he webs him up. He's like, man, the streets done changed you. So it's this great little exchange between them, and it was nice. But then Miles has this moment because, like, while he was fighting that dude, he could have killed him. Like, he was hitting him really hard, and Miles calls himself on it. And it's like, Peter is being weird right now because he's got that whole thing going on, and I'll be getting to the Dark Web event here soon, which I'm surprised I did not get that book, because I know I say these things, but... But anyway, I'll get around to doing the Dark Web event and what's going on with Peter. But yes, this is a great hopping on point. But that girl that he saved in the beginning of the book, she's got some skeletons in her closet because she's apparently following him. So we're going to find out what that's about here soon. But yeah, like if you're looking for a Spider-Man book to get in on and you want to check out like Miles Morales, like what's the other Spider-Man about? This is a good starting point. Really well done. Great art. Great writing. Ziegler. Yeah, I know that name. Hail Ziegler. Yes, so...
Oh, hail. Yeah.
Check it out. I mean, think you'll like it.
I mean, yay.
And that is the comic verse.